So today I have the subject or the topic of vectorizing your signature using Adobe Illustrator, and I also found a website that can do the conversion using a web browser. Vector art is basically artwork that can be scaled at any size, let it be small, large, anything, and you don't lose the quality in things. To vectorize your signature, what happened in the past is we've received signatures from artists that are they're not as clear. And so our artists in the background who create the print ready files for you, they have to recreate your signature. And sometimes, that can run the risk of the signature not looking how it should look like because we're kind of guessing what little character is in your signature. I think this is a really good tool for you to know and a good skill to know in order to have the signature come out as you would like it. As we go through the PDF that I created for you, you'll see what vector points are, and they're basically little points in the art file that help you can manipulate it however you want. Like if you wanted to have a circle and from there like just stretch little points or like little sections of that circle, those vector points will allow you to do so, and you'll still have the crisp lines and integrity of that artwork. I'll show you an example, like a live tutorial or a little live example for you to see what I'm talking about. Right now, I'm just going to go through the PDF. After I show you the Illustrator tutorial, I'll show you a tutorial like with the actual Illustrator so you can kind of see what I mean about vector points. First of all, what you would do is I would need a picture from the example that I chose is pretty clear, but this is actually just a JPEG of a signature that I found online. And what you do from here is you input your signature image into your Illustrator program. And from here, you go to the top row and you go into image and you click on image. Oh, sorry, I pointed too high. It would be found up here. The reason it's not showing in this screenshot is because I don't have the image selected. But once you do select it, another toolbar appears and this image trace button shows up. And from there, you can have other, there's like high fidelity, low fidelity, there's different formats that you can choose from. I usually, for something so simple as a signature, I just click the default settings to just be image trace, and they've already been set up. And from there, you select it, you hit image trace, and once you're happy with the image trace, you hit expand. And then you see the vector point. It creates this happens to your signature. It basically, this is what vectorizing is. It grabs every little point that will kind of go around the signature or whatever image that you're working with and make the vector points that will kind of consolidate the artwork together with the best pixels. But it's the same thing I was saying, like it just basically consolidates the shape of the image that you want to get traced and puts it all into a whole. And it kind of breaks up the solid colors with the background. It just breaks it up into different layers, but all within itself. You have it here, all in the little blue vectors. And then from there, when you want to break them up, you can start deleting the white background. As you can see, I left a little bit to show what selection is being deleted. And this, what is left, that is the incredibly high-res artwork. It's the vectorized art. I like to compare it as like pencil to Sharpie, because pencil is so delicate and like I feel like you can't get too much out of a pencil sketch because there's more texture in it, and in a marker like a Sharpie you'll get a more thick stroke, more coloring, or it's everything's just fuller. That's how I like to think of a vector art form if I were to use it on paper. Once you've removed all the white or whatever you want to remove from the signature, you can even, if you wanted to manipulate this part of the signature, if you want it to be artsy, what have you, you will have the opportunity to pull on the little vector points and you can create something completely different. So it's a cool little like art project if you want, just an idea. As you can see right here, the background is like a grayish tone. That's the background platform of the Illustrator file. I just like to move up the artwork away from our canvas page to do the real work. And then once I'm done, I grab the entire vector art and move it down to the canvas so it'll be back on a white background, but in reality the white background is clear, so it will not print on white. Once you're done there, then you would do a file save as. It's that simple. You just do file save as. Then you would save it as you could save it as a JPEG, or you can do it a PNG, what have you. from there, you could just upload it into your studio page. Very simple settings. You don't have to do 300 for the signature because it's so small. But now moving forward, that your image, your signature will be crisper. It won't have like the fuzzy borders as if your camera moves, you'll get that little blurry effect. So vectorizing your signature will not show that like kind of watery look to it. It'll just be easier to read. So moving forward, so what I did was I did a screenshot of this. As you can see, when I move it over, you'll see that it becomes gray because it was the screenshot from using this same background color. So I'm going to select my image, and then I do image trace just to do the default settings. Also, if say you have an image, this is not for signature, this would be an example for artwork with a lot of designs, but you want to vectorize it, then the option that you would choose is high fidelity photo, because it kind of takes in as many colors as it can, and still vectorizing it. Sometimes it won't be as clear because there'll be so many colors mixed in together, but they'll still be scalable to a larger effect. So I'm going to hit image trace. Oh, hold on. Actually, so when that happens, I also try to do the high fidelity. It could take a while. It's like a trial and error, to be honest. You don't always know what's gonna work, and I mean, as long as you don't give up hope, it'll work out. And I think that's the beauty in artwork. It could be the simplest things, and I mean, signature is already fun because you kind of can change the color easily. You can just really, creativity never stops. And that's just me as a designer talking all about it, because I can talk about this forever. So moving forward, selected, you did image trace, and then you do expand. Now these are the vector points that I was talking about earlier. In order to, if you want to manipulate it, you can double click on the outside of the background that you don't want to use. It's a little hard to see because that was gray, but when you move it downwards, you can, expand it, and the quality never, I'll show you like a side to side. Say you have the signature at this size and you want to enlarge it even more, you'll see that the stroke of everything does not diminish. Like the quality of it will not diminish. It'll still be the same crisp and cleanliness of the file. If you wanted to separate, if you wanted to delete the P, you just select that letter and you just hit delete, and it's still all vector. So you can do a lot of it. You can change the color easily. You don't have to do, you don't have to go in with your brush stroke, like in Photoshop, and change the color. It's like a quick few clicks and you're good. I want to say it was like a compound path. There you go. Compound path, and it just cuts a hole through it and you can still see through it. Finally, I'll talk about the vector points. So your regular selection tool is a black arrow that just allows you to select everything as a whole or as an individual if you just double click. If you want to grab only one point, you use your direct selection tool, or you can hit A. And when you zoom in, you can click on the one point and stretch it. Illustrator is my all-time favorite program, so I love just breaking things and then putting them back together to do something else, and yeah, just kind of give it your own. As you can see, it's kind of, I don't know, becoming some cool little funky fish, with like a fish with a fin or something. I don't know, but it's all fun. I think if you experiment with it, you can have a really good time. I also went ahead and looked for an alternative using the website. It's called, I left right here. I think this is probably the simplest image vectorizer that I've ever come across, and the closest to Illustrator that is free. All you do is you upload your image, so you would upload your signature, and it kind of gives you the option, like, do you want to do the color wizard or the black and white? In this case, I used the black and white just because I already had the signature in black and I was going to keep it that way. Moving forward, because of the simplicity of the signature, I went with 4 colors because I didn't think there'd be much need for the 32 color choice. Kind of shows you a before and after, like this would be a JPEG and this is a signature as a vectorized artwork. So you can see here in the JPEG it's a little bit more bumpier, not as smooth, and in the once it is vectorized, you kind of see the smoothness of the P or like this. I think this is a Z. I'm not quite sure, but it is very artsy of a letter. So I give the artist props to that. Once you hit download, then you're done with your vectorized art. And our platform does not allow you to upload a SVG file, which is what this download website gives you. So what I've done is just do a screenshot of that file because it is going to be either a PNG or a JPEG, and you can easily upload it to our site. And that'll still work. It'll still be clean because the artwork that you vectorized and screenshotting is already going to be smooth and the outcome that you've been wanting. Fitting the image to the product size. Do you mean like fitting the image on the preview image from our VIDA site? Or are you thinking more dimensions for a high res? Oh, Julio, yeah. PNG is a vector form, you're right. It's just more flattened, but it's still vector form. So yeah, that works. Andrew Davis, if I wanted to shorten corners of parts of the image. Oh, okay, so you're thinking of having more of a set template you can work with and then upload so we can follow that easier. So something that would be more precise to what you're looking for your printed file. I think that's what you're asking. Yeah, that's a great idea. I can do a tutorial for that on how to get the most of your image and to avoid the cropped off parts. You said, or you asked when you remove the background in the signature pixelated parts inside. So I believe what you're asking is if I tried to delete this gray part and you didn't have the hole that you were hoping for, you want to know how that part is removed, right? So if that issue happens, which will happen a lot with vector, and it is very simple to basically punch a hole through it or cutting. Imagine you're slicing it open. So what you do is you select the two shapes, making sure that they're all by themselves. Well, them separate from the other part of the artwork. And you do object, compound path, and mate. And it, as you can see, the gray was removed because it was through or cut through the artwork. And so if I wanted to move this one, you can see that now the two colors are behind it because there is now a hole. So again, one more time, I'll show you that I selected these two, object, compound path, make, and there you go. I really like these because I get to talk about art, and I'm all about art and design. So the more I get to teach, the happier I'll be. So please keep giving us suggestions, and yeah, I'll look forward to seeing you guys again. I hope you join in next week.